Have you ever wished to be someone unshakable? Someone who feels no sting from criticism, rejection, loss, or betrayal? Have you imagined the day when the silent pain inside you finally stops? When the weight pressing on your chest lifts? When the nights are no longer haunted by disappointment? Maybe you are tired of holding yourself together for everyone else, tired of maintaining an image that looks strong, while a quiet exhaustion spreads beneath the surface. Maybe you have tried to shield yourself, building walls, wearing masks, controlling every move, just to make sure nothing can wound you again. But let me tell you something that is not easy to hear. The more you run from pain, the more it will dictate where you go. The more you try to numb yourself, the tighter its grip becomes. Words will cut. Actions will disappoint. Silences will hollow you out, not because the world is cruel by design, but because these moments strike wounds you have never faced. This is not weakness. This is the human condition. The only difference between those who crumble and those who endure is whether they have faced what lives in the dark. Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human mind, once said, "We are not what happens to us. We are what we choose to become." True strength is not the absence of pain. It is the clarity that comes from walking into the very places within you that ache the most, and discovering that nothing outside you can destroy what you have already embraced. If you are tired of feeling at an emotional disadvantage, if you sense that others hold a power over you that you cannot explain, then stay with me, because it does not have to be this way. In the next few minutes, we will uncover why pain has held such power over you, how the illusion of control keeps you trapped, and why vulnerability, far from being weakness, is the doorway to freedom. By the end, you will know how to reach that place inside yourself, where no storm, no person, and no loss can touch you. Let's get started. Strength is a word we often misunderstand. We picture an unbending figure, a fortress of stone, someone who lets nothing in. We imagine that strength is the ability to avoid hurt, to keep our walls high and our emotions hidden. But that kind of strength is brittle. It cracks under the pressure of life's storms, even if it looks solid from the outside. True inner strength is different. It is not cold, nor is it distant. It is alive, flexible, and rooted so deeply that the winds may sway it, but never uproot it. It is the quiet certainty that even when you are cut, you will not lose yourself. It is the knowing that pain can pass through you without defining you. To understand this kind of strength, we have to start by looking inward. Jung spoke of the self, the whole of you that exists beneath the roles you play and the masks you wear. The self is not just your conscious mind, the part of you that makes plans and decisions. It includes your unconscious, the hidden depths where your fears, desires, wounds, and forgotten memories live. The self is not fragile, but we forget this when we live disconnected from it. When you are cut off from yourself, you start believing that your stability depends on the world behaving a certain way. You try to be good enough, wise enough, patient enough, believing that if you do everything right, you will earn safety. You cling to the hope that you can control how others treat you. But this is the illusion that keeps you trapped. The truth is that the world will never arrange itself to protect your heart. No matter how careful you are, someone will misunderstand you. Someone will disappoint you. Life will hand you losses you did not expect. If your peace depends on preventing these moments, your peace will always be fragile. Freedom begins when you see that nothing outside has power over you unless it finds an echo inside. The cutting remark only wounds if it touches an old scar. The betrayal only shatters if it awakens the part of you that still fears being abandoned. The rejection only burns if it presses against the belief that you are not enough. This is where the work begins, not in controlling the outside, but in exploring the inside. Not in armoring yourself against life, but in understanding why certain blows land so deeply. When you know the shape of your inner world, you stop being a prisoner of the outer one. This is the heart of inner strength, a rootedness in yourself so deep that no matter what storm comes, It cannot carry you away. And it begins with one essential skill: self-awareness. Self-awareness is not simply noticing what you are doing or feeling in the moment. It is the art of holding a mirror to your inner world and daring to look at what is reflected there. It is not always comfortable. Sometimes what you see will unsettle you, but it is the only way to uncover the forces that quietly shape your life. Jung once warned, "Till you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Think about that for a moment. The patterns you keep repeating, the emotions that seem to come from nowhere, the situations that feel as if they are chasing you. These are not accidents. They are signals, rising from the parts of yourself you have not yet faced. Perhaps you have noticed how a single careless comment can ruin your day, or how certain people seem to bring out the worst in you, no matter how hard you try to stay calm, or how you sabotage your own progress just as things begin to go well. These are not flaws of character. They are messages from your unconscious, asking to be heard. The problem is that most of us were never taught to listen. We were taught to distract ourselves from discomfort, to power through pain, to ignore the knot in our chest or the lump in our throat. We were taught to judge these feelings instead of understanding them. And what we reject in ourselves does not disappear. It hides, waiting for a moment to rise. Self-awareness changes this. It turns you from a passenger in your own life into the navigator. It allows you to see not only the waves on the surface, but the currents underneath. And when you can see those currents, you can begin to choose your direction. There are many ways to cultivate self-awareness, but they all require slowing down and paying attention. Journaling is one of the simplest. Not the kind where you list the events of your day, but the kind where you explore the truth of your feelings without censorship. Write about the moments that stirred something in you, especially the ones that hurt. Ask yourself, when have I felt this before? What old wound does this touch? Meditation is another way. It is not about emptying your mind, but about observing your thoughts and emotions without rushing to push them away. When you sit with them, you begin to see the patterns. You notice that the anger you feel today is tangled with the shame you carried years ago. You see that the sadness is not only about the present loss, but about the older loss you never mourned. The more you practice, the more you realize that nothing in you is random. Everything has a root. And once you find that root, you are no longer powerless to it. Self-awareness is not the end of the journey, but it is the foundation for every step that follows. Because until you can see yourself clearly, you cannot truly change. And change, the kind that frees you from the grip of old wounds, requires something most people fear. Vulnerability is a word that often makes people uneasy. We are taught to associate it with weakness, with being exposed, with inviting harm. From childhood, many of us are told to toughen up, to hide our tears, to push down the feelings that make us seem fragile. We learn that safety means showing no cracks, but the truth is different. Vulnerability is not the absence of strength, it is the door to it. Because you can only change what you are willing to face, and you can only heal what you are willing to touch. Carl Jung once said, "We cannot change anything until we accept it." Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. When you reject your own pain, when you hide your insecurities, when you silence the parts of you that are hurting, you do not erase them. You simply drive them deeper into the shadows of your mind. And there, in the dark, they grow stronger. This is why certain wounds seem to follow you no matter how far you run. You might change jobs, end relationships, start fresh in a new place, but somehow the same struggles return in different forms. You find yourself in familiar conflicts with different faces. You trip over the same patterns of self-sabotage. You feel anxiety rise at the very moment life starts to feel good. These are signs of the unconscious pushing its way to the surface. It is not punishing you, it is calling you. It is asking you to stop running and turn toward what you fear. When you embrace vulnerability, you step out from behind the mask of constant strength. You allow yourself to say, yes, I am hurting. Yes, I am afraid. Yes, I have wounds I have not healed. And in that moment, something remarkable happens. The fear begins to lose its hold, because the things we hide gain their power from secrecy. When you bring them into the open, they can no longer control you in the same way. This does not mean that being vulnerable will never be uncomfortable. It will be. Your ego, which has spent years protecting you, will resist. It will tell you to retreat, to put the mask back on, to pretend again. But each time you choose openness over concealment, you grow stronger in a way that no facade can provide. And here is the paradox. The more willing you are to be vulnerable, the less fragile you become. Because you are no longer hiding from yourself. You are no longer wasting energy maintaining walls. Instead, you are meeting life exactly as it is. Without pretense, without armor. This is where true resilience begins. Not in avoiding pain, but in integrating it. Not in shielding yourself from the world, but in knowing yourself so completely that the world has nothing left to use against you. And it is through the fire of adversity that this strength is tempered. Which brings us to the next step, building resilience through the challenges that once threatened to break you. Adversity has a way of stripping life down to its essentials. When something you depended on is taken away, when your plans crumble, when the people you counted on turn away, you are forced to see what remains. Most people believe resilience is about building an impenetrable wall so that life can never touch you. But that is not resilience. That is isolation. And isolation is not strength. It is fear, wearing the mask of control. Resilience is born in the opposite place. It grows when you allow life to touch you fully and you remain standing. It is not about never falling. It is about rising each time you do, with a deeper understanding of yourself. Carl Jung spoke of individuation, the process of becoming whole. Not perfect, not flawless, but whole. It is the integration of every part of yourself, the confident and the insecure, the joyful and the wounded, the light and the shadow. When these parts are brought together, the fractures inside you begin to close. And here is the truth. You cannot integrate what you have never faced. That is why adversity is such a powerful teacher. It forces what is hidden into the light. It brings forward your fears, your limits, and your unhealed wounds, giving you the chance to meet them directly. Think of someone who has faced a deep personal loss, a career shattered, a relationship ended, a dream suddenly gone. Some are crushed by it, closing themselves off, carrying their pain like a stone in the chest. Others are changed by it, not because the pain was smaller, but because they chose to turn toward it. They asked, "What is this moment trying to show me?" They listened for the answer, even when it hurt to hear. This is how you become untouchable in the truest sense, not by avoiding life, but by allowing yourself to be shaped by it. Because once you have met your deepest fears and lived through them, the world has nothing left to threaten you with. Imagine a tree that has endured years of storms. The wind has bent it, the rain has stripped its leaves, the seasons have tested its roots. It does not stand because the storms have stopped. It stands because the storms have made its roots run deeper into the earth. That is resilience. You have the same capacity. Every challenge is an invitation to deepen your roots, to find a stability that does not depend on the weather. And the more you grow in this way, the less energy you spend defending yourself from life. Instead, you learn to move with it. But resilience is not just something you wait for life to give you. It can be built intentionally, with practices that strengthen your inner foundation long before the storm arrives. And that is where we turn next. Practical steps that will help you claim the strength that is already within you. Resilience and inner strength do not appear by accident. They are cultivated piece by piece through the choices you make each day. And while life's challenges will shape you, you do not have to wait for a crisis to begin the work. You can train your mind and heart to stand steady now, so that when the storm comes, you will already know your footing. The first step is shadow dialogue. This is a practice drawn from Jung's work with the unconscious. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed. Take a pen and paper, and imagine you are speaking to the part of you that feels most fragile. Your fear, your anger, your sadness. Write down its voice, as if it were a person sitting across from you. Ask it what it needs, what it is afraid of, what it has been trying to protect you from. You may be surprised at the answers. This exercise allows you to stop treating these parts as enemies and begin understanding them as allies with messages you need to hear. The second step is visualization. Close your eyes and picture yourself meeting your younger self at the exact moment they first felt powerless. See the look in their eyes. Notice the way they hold themselves. Now, imagine offering them the safety and compassion they never received. Tell them what you wish someone had told you then, that they are not broken, that their feelings are valid, and that they are not alone. Each time you do this, you begin to heal the echoes of those early wounds. The third step is the radical acceptance mantra. Choose a short phrase that affirms your wholeness. Something like, I am both light and shadow, and I accept all that I am. Repeat it aloud each morning. Say it when you feel doubt creeping in. Say it when you are tempted to hide. This is not about denying your pain. It is about anchoring yourself in the truth that you are more than your pain. Finally, practice presence training. Once a day, stop whatever you are doing and simply notice your surroundings. The sound of the air moving through the room, the feeling of the chair beneath you, the weight of your body in the moment. This simple act trains your nervous system to stay grounded rather than being pulled into old patterns of fear or avoidance. These practices are not quick fixes. They are tools for building a foundation, one choice at a time, that can hold you steady no matter what happens. And when you combine them with the self-awareness and resilience we have already explored, something powerful begins to happen. Pain is no longer an enemy to outrun. It becomes a teacher, guiding you toward the truest version of yourself. And that brings us to the final step in this journey, bringing everything together into a way of living that keeps you steady, clear, and free, no matter what comes. You have seen now that strength is not about hardening yourself against life. It is about knowing yourself so deeply that nothing outside can decide who you are. You have learned that control over the world is an illusion, but mastery over your inner world is the path to freedom. Carl Jung said that what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. Every step we have taken in this journey has pointed toward that truth. The pain you fear will not vanish because you hide from it. The wounds you ignore will not heal because you refuse to see them. But the moment you face them honestly, without judgment, they begin to lose their power. You will still hurt at times, but you will no longer drown in it. You will no longer be defined by it. And that changes everything. Life will always bring moments that test you. Words will still be spoken in haste. Loss will still come without warning. The difference is that now, you have a place within yourself that no storm can reach. You have roots that hold steady even as the winds rise. Remember, the goal is not to avoid the waves, but to learn how to stand in them without losing your balance. Those who live only on the surface are knocked down by every swell. Those who dive deeper find a stillness that the waves cannot touch. This is your invitation to stop living on the surface, pretending to be unshakable, and to start living from the depths where true strength resides. To embrace your shadows as part of your light. To meet life without armor because you no longer need it. From this place, you do not just survive, you live fully, freely, and no one and nothing can take that from you. If this message has reached something deep within you, let it be the start of your own journey. Share in the comments the words, "I choose awareness," so we know you are walking this path with us. If you found value here, subscribe, like, and share this video so it can reach others who need it. And do not miss the next video. It is the next step in this journey, and it will give you the tools to go even deeper into your own transformation.